Hora Tsuki Chapter 2, Forgotten Mansion. At the edge of a crumbling town stood a mansion that no living soul dared to enter. Its windows were dark, like eyes that had long forgotten how to see. Ivy clawed at the walls, twisting the stone into shapes that seemed almost alive. Locals whispered that the house was cursed, that those who dared cross its threshold were never truly the same again. A young historian named Ayumi had always been drawn to mysteries. She had heard the tales but dismissed them as superstition. That evening, with a notebook in hand and courage in her chest, she approached the mansion, determined to uncover its secrets. The front doors groaned as she pushed them open. Dust hung in the air like a fog, and the smell of decay seeped into her lungs. Floorboards creaked under her footsteps, echoing through corridors empty for decades. Portraits lined the walls, faces of long-dead residents, staring at her with hollow eyes. Some smiled faintly, others twisted in expressions of despair. Then she saw her, a pale woman in a faded gown, standing motionless in a corner. But when Ayumi blinked, she was gone. The historian pressed onward, guided by an unexplainable pull deeper into the mansion. Whispers began, soft at first, like distant echoes. "Leave, leave, leave." They grew louder, forming fragmented sentences that spoke of betrayal, sorrow, and madness. The house itself seemed alive, its walls breathing, guiding her further into its heart. In the library, she discovered a journal. Its pages were brittle, but the ink was dark and fresh as if written yesterday. The entries told of a patriarch obsessed with immortality, who performed unspeakable rituals to preserve his bloodline. He sought to bind the spirits of his family to the house, ensuring they would never leave. The last entry ended abruptly, smeared with a dark substance that looked suspiciously like blood. A chill ran down Ayumi's spine as a cold presence brushed past her. The woman appeared again, closer this time, her expression pleading. "Do not read. Do not see." But Ayumi could not stop. Curiosity, as always, outweighed fear. Suddenly, the mansion seemed to shift. Hallways twisted unnaturally, rooms rearranging themselves. The portrait's eyes followed her in unison, their whispers blending into a mournful chorus. "Stay, stay, stay." She stumbled into the grand hall, where a shattered chandelier hung precariously. On the floor lay the skeletal remains of the patriarch, frozen in a final scream. Around him, ghostly figures replayed their last moments, trapped in an endless loop of torment. Ayumi realized the terrible truth. The mansion did not merely house the dead. It fed on sorrow, reliving every tragedy over and over, ensnaring anyone who came seeking answers. Ayumi tried to flee, but the mansion would not let her leave. The doors vanished, replaced by unbroken walls. Windows reflected only darkness, no matter the hour. The whispers grew insistent, and she felt herself drawn into the eternal cycle of the house. Stay, stay, stay. When townspeople dared approach days later, the mansion appeared as silent and abandoned as ever. Inside, dust settled over empty halls. Ayumi's notebook lay open in the library. Pages filled with her writing, but beneath her words, a new line appeared, scrawled in an unfamiliar hand. "Welcome to your new home. The mansion waits, patient and eternal. It calls to those who seek knowledge, feeding on curiosity, fear, and sorrow." And if you ever pass a house abandoned and silent, remember, some doors are better left unopened, and some stories are never meant to be told. If this tale has chilled your soul, subscribe to Hora Tsuki, where shadows speak and whispers linger. Remember, some stories are best left unheard, and some places should never be entered.